in the last session for the demonstration class, we have come up with few basic things that which are related with the SQL DBA, in which I have come up with some overview kind of thing related with the SQL Server introduction. Plus, we have discussed roles of database administrator. Yeah, this was all related with introduction part of SQL till here. And then we discussed about roles of DBA. In that, we have come up with the installation and configuration part of SQL Server. And as a DBA, what you should be aware of about installation process. Then working with SQL Server databases, storage architecture, transaction processing, creating and maintaining databases, security, these all things. And then we have come up with the SQL Server, providing you with two types of environments, right? And in the two types of environments, one is called standalone environment, and second is called clustering environment. Okay, two types. Today we'll discuss how are they different. Yeah, and even I'll come up with one small architecture kind of thing to understand, especially standalone environment. Okay. Okay. Now, yeah, first we'll discuss standalone environment. Yeah. In standalone environment, it is helpful for small companies. Yesterday I said this point. And it has only one production server. One production server. Whereas clustering environment to be suitable for large companies. Helpful for large companies. And it has more than one production server. 1 point. Second thing, in standalone environment and clustering, both comparison under. Yeah. And second thing, what I said is in this is in standalone environment, all users are connected to a single server, whereas in clustering environment, group of servers will be made available with a common name and common IP address. Yeah. And especially for clustering environment, till SQL Server 2008, Microsoft has provided a limit of multiple servers to 16. 16. And whereas from 2012, that limit also they removed. Now from 2012, to any advanced version you have, you can have what? Unlimited servers. Okay. Now, especially when it comes to standalone environment, in one of my batches already I have come up with this architecture. So the same thing will open and learn what happens. Open. online sessions, SQL DBA, 8 p.m. Standalone environment. Yeah, this is a standalone environment architecture. Let's understand what it means. For example, what I said in this architecture is, this is one website, this one is one website, which is developed by one application team, and that website is running on a server called IIS server. Okay, so I assume that it is like a shopping portal. Okay, it is like shopping portal. Okay, now this shopping portal is being accessed, used by end user. In that end user is, you put yourself in the example, you are the one who is accessing that shopping portal, that is your website. Okay, now point is, whatever the products that you access, or whatever the products you purchase, and for whatever the product you have, paid the amount, that all information has to be recorded by that website. That all information it has to record. So that information to record, we are provided by one database. And that database is created by SQL Server. Yeah, SQL Server, which is your RDBMS based product. And I have a database called sales database that may have some tables in it. And using SQL queries, information is recorded. Information is recorded. Yeah. And now, whether I order one product or I order 10 products, all my information will be available in this database, sales database. Okay. Now, for example, assume that this end user, he is making, orders for the products. First product was successful, second product was successful, third product was successful, and every information, whatever is ordering, it is recorded in the database. Imagine at some point of time when he was trying to make an order, trying to make an order, assume 4 or 5 times it was successful. Somewhere at one point of time, when he's trying to place an order, he's being provided by error message. He's provided by an error message that particular product information is not being accepted. It's not being recorded. You're being provided with a message. Yeah. Why? Because this database may be failed. This database, the first database on which we are working, it might be failed. Yeah, this is something happened. It is not working. So since it is, business information, right? Products information, obviously company may not lose the business. Company cannot lose the business. Company cannot lose that, sales information. Yeah. So for that reason, what company will do, since you have only one, server available, and you cannot depend on that server, because at any point of time it may fail. And if it is failed, then whatever the other information that end user is ordering, that information will not be there. The company has to bear a loss of that. So for that reason, what you do is, always when you have only one server, immediately create one standby server. Sorry. Create what? Standby server. Yeah. Separate machine. And even in that machine also, you'll have database. Yeah. Now you have 2 servers. primary server, secondary server. And how do you connect them? How do you link those servers? Primary server, secondary server. You are going to configure what? Mirroring, log shipping between primary server and secondary server. Why? Why you want to configure them? Because whenever information is getting stored in primary server, parallelly, the same information has to be recorded in standby server. Whatever information which is being recorded in primary server, parallelly, the same information has to be recorded in what? Standby server. And that will happen. That is what the work of mirroring and log shipping is. Yeah, whenever this end user is ordering the products, his information is getting recorded in primary server, and parallelly, the same information is getting recorded even in the standby server. Here it is recorded simultaneously. Here also it is recorded. A copy, you can say, copy of the original you have as, in standby server. Why you want to have like this? Because for some reason, if your primary server gets failed, automatically it can switch over. It can switch over to where? Secondary or standby server. Automatically it can switch over to where? Secondary or standby server. Whenever primary server is failed, automatically that information that it can automatically what? Switch over from where to where? Primary to secondary, primary to standby. Why? Because automatically when it switch over to standby, remember now standby becomes primary. Standby becomes a primary. Yeah. And then what happens? Whenever that switchover process will happen, immediately regarding that failure of principal server, failure of primary database, that information has to be given to the client, to the application team, as well as to the DBA, whether he is there in the company or is not there in the company. Yes. Immediate, you have to inform. How do you inform? You have to configure automation process. And that automation process is through DB mail. That is called database mail. And how do you configure this? This database mail, you have to link with this database mail. You have to link with what? Ticketing tool. Ticketing tool. This is another tool has to be installed on server machine. Some of the names I gave for your reference there: HPSD, Kayako, PMC Remedy. Lot of other tools are there as well. Google, I just call PMC Remedy tool. Yes. PMC software. Okay, that is one tool we have. Similarly, there is another tool called Kayako ticketing. Yes, Kayako software, ticketing software. Okay, so now what exactly you want to do with them? So whenever you configure, whenever you install these tools will help you. Regarding the failure, database mail information will be sent, and that information will be sent to DBA, client, and application team. And in that process, you are even going to mention. You are going to mention about what? About the about the failure. Was it a critical issue, or is it like intermediate related issue, or it is a very small issue? So if it is critical, instant you have to react. See that immediately that has to be rectified. You cannot delay it. If it is small issue which is manageable, 1 2 days, you can work on it. But if it is a critical issue, instant you should react. Instant you should try to rectify the problem. Don't wait for don't wait for the next process to create on it. You should not depend. You should not make. You should not wait. Instant react and try to rectify the problem. So that the moment the problem is rectified, remember, the moment problem is rectified, that was actually a primary server, automatically it becomes your standby server. Already standby has become primary. But how many are there? Only two. One primary, one standby. That's it. Only two I'm saying. One primary and one standby. What happens in clustering? Yeah, coming classes mein, whenever I come up with a topic related with high availability features. Yeah, in that high availability features, I'll explain you. Yeah, how actually a clustering environment will be created. Clustering environment will not be created by alone one database administrator. Yeah, DBA alone cannot create clustering environment. Clustering environment has to be created by you know you can call like multiple administrators. Network administrator should be there. Windows Server administrator should be there. DBA should be there, and storage device administrator should be there. It's a work of around 4 to 5 administrators who come together to create a clustering setup in a company. It's not the work of one alone, developer. It's not the work of one single person who takes care of that process. Yeah, you have anything to ask me on this? Go ahead. Yes. Yeah. Any queries that you want to ask me on this? And this backend part is backend part, mirroring, log shipping, server, I said. That's not the routine job we do. Like every time when you go to office, you don't configure mirroring. Every time you go to office, you don't configure log shipping. One time process it is. Yeah, lengthy, but one time. Any technical, but only one time. Issues may be logical, but only one time. That is the reason your efforts are only 30%. Application team which is developing a website, they require a frequent upgradation. They want to have frequent changes. They need to always make things available in a look and feel manner. Things should be easy in approach for the people. So 70% are the efforts of front-end people. 30% are the efforts of back-end people. Database, sales database. Daily you don't create sales database. One time you create, and that database will be keep on storing information forever. That is the reason why you said like the efforts what DBA places in this complete standalone environment is only 30% are your efforts. 70% of the efforts of whom? Front-end team, application team. Yeah, this is how standalone environment works for us. Yeah. You have anything to ask me on this? Go ahead. Nitesh, Sachin, and Madhuswami. All of you. This is
Like
actually a continuation to, yes, please.
performance of database, how can be optimized?
Sorry.
Performance of the database, suppose that like some SQL queries are taking more time in
I
these
will
case.
discuss. Actually, yesterday I said like we got this as one of the modules in our course content. Here I mentioned monitoring, performance monitoring, tuning, and troubleshooting. Yeah, we'll discuss. We have that in our course content as well.
And also like in upcoming days, like what are the effects of AI on the DB roles?
Can you come again? What did you ask?
Like in coming days, what will be the effects of AI on the DB related roles and
Hmm,
activities?
hmm, hmm. Okay. The this would be actually related with querying process is one environment where you can find an effect of it. Complex. Even now, since we are not applying with any AI related activity in our administration, but as of now, even in my sessions, I'm saying. So obviously, when it comes to querying process, there are a lot of logical things that I'm going to write with long queries. Just that we don't have any alternate process. Yeah, we don't have any alternate process for that. So the only thing that what I'm trying to do is that we use lot of system views. Plus we are going to even use, a lot of logical stuff to write on conditions, applying on, multiple tables and extracting data from one table, giving it to other table by writing subqueries. Those all things will be automatically reduced once AI comes into, usage. Okay. Anything else? Yes, please. Anything else?
What is the basic architectures and all, how the queries database or DB architectures, how the inside the system, how this going
You're
on?
talking about database process, you're saying?
Yeah, architecture and the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, we'll discuss. We'll discuss. Actually, yesterday did you attend the session? Or is it your first session?
Yeah, it's the first only.
That's actually yesterday during when I was talking on this
Mm.
roles of DBA, here I mentioned actually here working with SQL Server databases, storage architecture. Yeah. So that is what actually a basic point I'll say. Database, uh, especially for developer, administrator role on database will be different. Developer role on database will be different. Now, my concern is as a developer, as a developer, he or she will be focused on logical structure of database. And as a DBA, you should be aware of both logical structure also you should be aware, physical structure also you should be aware. Logical structure may you should know about these things. What database, sorry, instance, database, schema, objects. Logical. Physical level mein you should know about data file. Okay. First, you should know about file group, data file, extend, page, and block. 5 things. Physical level. And physical level information, SQL server developer will not have any idea about it. Nothing he has idea about physical. Administrator will be knowing all that stuff. Yeah, when you talk about pages, especially when you talk about pages, then you should know internal how it is going to manage your data in the form of blocks, physical blocks. And another interesting thing, when it comes to transaction also, as a DBA, you should know internal working process of a transaction. Yeah. You should know background processes of a transaction. And developer will know only command. He just knows like how to work with implicit transaction, how to work with explicit transaction, how to handle isolated transaction, how to use the TCL related commands, commit, rollback, save transaction, begin transaction. Only these things he'll have idea about. Developer, DBA should have idea on both the cases. First, internal working of transaction. Yeah, internal working of transaction, you should know everything. How a transaction starts, how it goes with buffer. Buffer mein, what is the role of clean page? What is the role of dirty page? And what is the role of commit? Commit will transfer data from where to where. And checkpoint will transfer data from where to where. What is the significance of log writer? What is the significance of lazy writer? Lot of background processes. So those things that I will discuss when I come up with the SQL Server databases. Okay. Yeah. Anything else? Logical architecture, probably in next 2 to 3 sessions, I'll discuss that. Logical structure. Physical structure, you have to wait till I go to that module. SQL Server databases module, I'll discuss. Okay. Yeah. Anything else?
So, like, how is the market opportunity currently for the DBA job related? And can I go for
Point is,
5+ year of experience? Can I get some confidence after completion of this course to have interview related to 5+ or 6+ experience in the DBA?
Mhm. Actually, the point is, this is what my point I'm saying, like, when you when you want to make your career into DBA, whether it is like a fresher or even if it is like an experienced profile, this is what you notice. This is what you notice. This is what I notice. That, for an administrator, opportunities are at 2 levels for a DBA. You find opportunity for a DBA to work at IT, even opportunities for a DBA where you can find that it is available in non-IT sectors as well. This is one a good example of towards one of my students who completed his administration DBA course from me. And later on, the problem with him was like he was lacking with his academics. Uh, the problem with him was like he was lacking with what? Academics. Academic studies were not technical with him. But he completed his DBA, and today he is managing administration part of one of the hospitals. He's administrator. He's managing the administration part of hospital. He's working as DBA in hospital. That is, I mean to say, a non-IT sector. The only issue with him was because about his academic studies. Yeah. And another thing, people are even working in both the areas. People are, they work in when they are at office, 5 days they work for a company as a DBA. And so for some companies, they are getting a contract, for some non-IT sector, they are maintaining a contract where they are going to work weekends for few hours in a Saturday and Sunday for few hours. They are going to resolve their all maintenance issues so that the 5 days they can manage the things easily. Yeah, some features are there. I would say very clearly, especially like always on. This feature basically it's little difficult, to get it done or to get it implement on a normal Windows operating system. If you are planning to go ahead with some real-time exposure on it, so at least my point is, along with the content, the knowledge, what we are going to have in our sessions, along with that, you should have some, a guidance from a person who is basically working as DBA, that may give you a kind of, idea, a kind of confidence, so that especially I'm talking about high availability features related things. Whatever the experience that I carry with me, those things definitely I'll share, no doubt in it. But discussing them on a standalone machine, discussing them in a network environment, in a remote environment, will be little different. There's a reason, even for a fresher, when they appoint as when they make him work in an administration environment, it's very clearly asked you, like, you have learned administration. Is it on a real time, or is that you have learned administration on a training, environment? Okay, Sachin, did you get me? Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Anything else you want to ask? Nitesh, what about you? You're not audible, Nitesh. This you're not audible, though I see in my list that it shows that you're unmute, but I'm unable to hear you anything. Yeah, Madhusami, what about you? You have anything to ask? Okay. Hmm. Oh, clustering environment, how it will be coming classes. That is when I take up a topic, high availability features, replication, mirroring, log shipping, and always on. Whenever I take up these topics on that day, I'll explain you how a clustering setup will be created, how a clustering setup is created. So what are the things that are involved in that setup? That part also I'll cover when I take up that module. Okay. Okay. And as I said you very clearly in my last session, we are not going to discuss anything about development things in our this course, because administration itself has lot of things to study towards practical, and we don't depend doing every practical only with wizard-based approach. No, because that wizard-based approach may not be suitable in many situations. So my focus will be completely on practical oriented with a script support. Script. For everything we write a script. If there is somewhere a support of wizard, wizard also will discuss. But mostly we depend on what? Scripting. Yeah, writing queries, writing, various types of views, implementing a lot of logical, the process of writing, programming towards, but not all the types of coding process. At least you should be well aware of procedures. That's it. Not the too in-depth knowledge of procedures. What is what? If you have even idea about stored procedures, it's enough. Because generally at development level, we discuss all that part. How to work with temporary stored procedures. How do you deal with some of the important stored procedures. Administration level also, we have those stored procedures. But their implementation and administration level is different. That cannot be compared with the development level discussions. There is a reason course content you go through, whatever the course whatever the content I'm going to cover for our administration part, that course content you collect from the management, go through all the topics, whatever I mentioned in it. Then still, if you feel that something which you are looking for in that is not available, bring to my notice. We'll discuss on that. And if not, it's not included in the course content. Later, at least we can discuss that particular topic as well. Okay. Next, we will discuss about what is the life cycle of database implementation. Yeah, next topic. Life cycle of database implementation. And in this life cycle, also in one of the batches which is going on currently, I covered for them the same thing. I'll discuss with you as well. Life cycle of database. Yeah. It goes in 3 phases. Okay. Life cycle of database implementation. It goes in 3 phases. One is designing. Second is development. Third is production. Yeah, 3 things. Designing, development, production. Designing is managed by architect. Development will be handled by developer. Production will be managed by administrator. And in all these 3 cases, in every stage, they got their own unique responsibilities. Especially when it comes to architect, the one who designs a database, you can see the responsibilities of him. Like, he is the one who makes an interaction with your client. Understand? Client. There is a reason why I said like planning and analyzing what client requirements. Yeah. If someone who wants a database in his business, so definitely he has to approach to some IT company. That IT company will put him into an architect. An architect, whatever he requires in his business, he'll explain to architect. So it is the work of architect to plan correctly, to analyze correctly of what client requires. Based on that, he has to go for designing. And designing phase, it's not a work of 5 days, 10 days. Sometimes designing goes months together. Designing goes months together. And whatever the designing goes months together, that particular designing content, he has to write in the form of MS Word document. So that today he is there in the company. right? Today he's there in the company and he designed the database for some few months, and after that he got some good opportunity, he left the job. Then some other person comes, then he has to continue the design. So only when he has a document of the design to what extent it has been completed, that will help the other architect to continue from there. That is the reason company makes a policy with him. Company makes a policy with an architect that he is supposed to write a document of the design part. And when it comes to development, you see, developer, what is the job? He is the one who implements database. He is the one who writes coding. He is the one who debugs the code. He is the one who writes fine-tuned queries. Such queries, the queries should not take much time. Queries should not take much time to run. Fine-tuned queries. Two factors actually. Fine-tuning queries depends on two factors. One is called convenient and second is called efficient. Yeah. And testing database is also a work of developer. These are the responsibilities or the tasks that developer will do. When it comes to administration, these are our responsibilities. Maintenance. Something happens to data, we are answerable to the company. Developer just completes. Developer only says that whatever information we feed it, that was all happened, that was all perfect, and that was there in the database. But someone who don't have information, if somewhere data is lost, then administrator is answerable for it. There is a reason we talk about maintenance, monitoring, troubleshooting, tuning, database server issues. Along with that, you see that as a DBA, never server is down. Never server is down. But yet sometimes, you require to even, down the server. Sometimes. It cannot be a frequent process. In some years, you may be doing this process for one time, two times. Even when you're trying to down the server, you have to properly explain. You have to give that information, a prior information to many people. Yes, you have to explain them that so and so date on so and so time server will not be available. So you don't do, lot of things on that particular day because of server maintenance. You should give them alerts. You should explain them. You should keep on reminding them that server will be down for some reason, for some maintenance reason on so and so, from so and so time to so and so time. No data loss, no performance issues, no connectivity issues. Never you face security issues, security problems. Never you face. These are all activities that happens in a life cycle of what? Database implementation. That's it. Tomorrow's class, I'll continue with some other topics. We have more 2 to 3 theoretical topics to study. In 1 or 2 days, we'll study them. And then we'll enter into our first practical session where I come up with installation of SQL Server. And that too in 3 ways. What is called attended installation, what is called unattended installation, and what is called silent installation. Those all things we'll discuss. Okay. All right.